Welcome everyone to this. I'm so excited to share the results of the interviews with all of you. 100 of you participated, and I couldn't be more happy with the results. It's just, I'm so excited to share it with you. So a little bit about how this got started. Okay, make sure my buttons are working here. Come on. Yeah, there's a little delay there. All right, so about a year and a half ago, I started realizing I had an epiphany that isn't much of an epiphany when you look back. It looks like just common sense. And I had been doing coaching and workshops for over 17 years, and I suddenly realized that I wasn't serving the market that I really should have been serving all along because of my particular background as a physics major and engineer and working in software companies for over 15 years. So I started doing some research on what was going on and looking at articles and reading all the stuff that's out there about, you know, women leaving STEM positions, not enough women getting in, you know, senior leadership, not having enough women in general, and realized that I really didn't know as much as I would really like to. I really wanted to talk to you all up close and personal and really find out whether some of that research that I'd uncovered was really true and what was really going on in the world. So that is what began this journey that started about a year ago, and started interviewing you all probably around April, I think, of this year. Okay. So what did we, and initially I put out, you might recall this is the one request I put out on LinkedIn in the Anita Borg group asking for participation from you all, and I put this one link out and my calendar filled up. So it's just phenomenal to me, the participation that I got from you all and the interest. So thank you all again for this. Here's who you all are. So this is 100 women, so this is pretty easy to look at the percentages and numbers as we go through this. You were all in STEM fields across the United States, ages 22 and up. So you can see we have a nice, beautiful, bell-shaped curve here of participation. Where did you all come from? You came from all over the United States. A bunch of California, as you would suggest. There was, we'll look at the industries in a second, but California was specifically, California and also Seattle, of course, were big, and then the rest were sprinkled about the country. You came from all different industries, a lot in IT, as you can see, 42%, but from every other genre possible represented. I mean, from nuclear power to space to software involved in finance and banking. Just a really interesting mix of women you all are. Here are some of the representative companies. These are the big names. So we had all the big names, as you can see. Also had a lot of women from smaller startups and companies that none of us would ever have really heard of. So it was a really great mix as far as company size. And who is involved here? So hold on, I just need to move my screen share thing out of the way here for myself. But who's in the majority? 88% say that you work in a male majority environment. There are more males in your workplace than females. What kind of employees are you all? About half managers, half individual contributors. And interestingly enough, of women 46 and older, 61% were still individual contributors. Some of those, of course, by choice, really liking the technical role as opposed to the management role. And to help put this data together for me, I worked with 3 young women from the local STEM Academy, the Downingtown STEM Academy, and I had 3 lovely young ladies help me with this, and they were quick to point this out. They had noted that of women 46 and older, 61% were still individual contributors. How many of you had children? About half had children and half did not. And my high school girls were also quick to point out that 36% of women 35 and older did not have children. I think that was surprising to them that there are that percentage of women out there who are deciding not to have children for whatever reason that might be. So again, a great mix. And some of you had children, as you can see, more than 4. Some of you had 4 or more children. And so that prompted the question, of course, how are you handling it all with these children that you all are having? So what has helped you keep working after having these children? Some of you had companies that helped you with work-life balance. They had on-site daycare. Some were subsidized for daycare. Some of you mentioned having male mentors or management that were respectful and understanding of the responsibility that you were shouldering with having these children and working. Some of you flat out said, you know, I make all the money. I would never not work. I love my job. I would be bored out of my mind if I stayed home. So that came up as well. The number one for this is my husband is very supportive. And for those of you who do not yet have children and who are wondering, you know, whether to have children and how you're going to make that all happen, this was really the number one. Choose your husband wisely, I have to say, because his husbands were really pitching in a lot, it sounded like. Also, a big plus for having the live-in nanny was up there. And my mother or my mother-in-law helped considerably handling these child care issues. So again, getting that support was really important for women that were having children. A couple other things that I don't have up on the slide were things like choosing daycare that is close to where you live as opposed to where you work was a big one. What else? I'm trying to think. I think those were predominantly the main messages that came through with what to do when you have children. Okay. All right. Some quotes about how to handle what happens when you're handling motherhood and career. Some of them you said was just personal drive that got me through it. One person said I was running like a headless chicken when they got to school age, and having 3 boys of my own, I can agree with that. In some ways, it's much easier when your children are younger and you can have them in daycare. When you get into the school year with all of the holidays and days off, it really can be crazy. So these are some of the quotes directly from you all about having children. I love the one about the house does look like crap now, because I can really relate to that. The laundry never got done, and there was never any food in the house. So why did you all get into this in the first place? Why did you all choose a career in STEM? The number one thing that came out of all of your mouths was, right out of the bat, I was always good at math and science. Almost every one of you had said that. And then quick to follow that was a comment about really liking to solve puzzles and have challenges that you solved. But definitely the word puzzles came across again and again and again. So that was a big thing. And many of you also said that you came from a family of engineers, either your parents or some other relative, an uncle, an aunt. And then right behind that was support that you got from your school itself, from people in your high school or people in college who really encouraged you along the way. So these are important things to keep in mind. I've been working with several groups that are working with high school girls and trying to get them involved more in STEM, and want to pass these messages along to them that these are the things that came up for you all as to why you got into this field in the first place.